Hello everyone, this is Jotto, and welcome to my Masters Tournament report. Yes, another month, another Masters, and this time I managed to go 3-1 instead of the 2-2 from last month, which put me in top 4. Now, I did work very closely with Uska in the last week. We sort of just decided to team up because both of us were kind of on our own. I mean, yeah, Ace Breakers is a little bit absent of active players right now, so I had to sort of go hunting for a testing partner, and I found one. And we did very well. Both of us got top 4, and I was very happy with the result. Now, the 3 lists we ran were Rage, Elves, and Wisdom Dominion. Now, going into this tournament, the lineup to beat that everyone was thinking of playing was Wisdom Dominion, Rage, and Hate Bears. However, I would more degenerate that down to Wisdom Dominion, Rage, and a green deck. That's how I would actually put it. Now, did that change? In my opinion, no. Yeah, I'm not entirely convinced about that. I do think that it still went roughly as expected. And in the end, I mean, we ended up playing the meta, essentially. Our lists were a bit weird, but we ended up playing the meta, and out of everyone that went 3-1 or better, I've actually got the set of lists up in front of me. So, Laurential won the tournament. He was playing Wisdom Dominion Implants instead of Control, which I tried beforehand. I didn't think it was very good, so I'm very curious to see how he managed to get the list to work. I haven't tested his exact card for card list, but I mean, it's possible that I just was playing the deck wrong, or I just got unlucky in testing. I have no idea. But I tried Implants, I didn't like the deck, but apparently it works, so I definitely have to look into that one a bit more, that is for sure. So anyway, Laurential was playing green-red and then Implants, and then myself and Uska were both playing the sort of green-red control lineup. PewQ switched out green for Demons, and Little Fur was also playing Wisdom Dominion, Hate Bears, Rage. So, overall, it was fairly predictable in terms of setups. Now, the way we ran it was we were running Elves, which was the deck that I came up with after the last patch, and is slightly overpowered in my opinion. But yeah, this deck is disgusting. I actually played it a lot on ladder. Basically what happened was we were testing Hate Bears, and we thought, okay, let's try some other green decks. So I tested Kainu, and it was terrible. And I thought, what about Elves? Because we discovered when we were fiddling around that maybe we could get Demons, aggro Rage, like full aggro Rage, and then another green deck that would be highly aggressive, and we could target down Wisdom Dominion, because we figured most people would be playing the deck. So I thought, I'll try Elves, and basically I built the deck overnight when Uska went off for the day, and I said, well, I'll have a basic list out tomorrow, and let you know if the deck works. And I went 22-1 on ladder. I went from 1,700 points to 1,940 at my peak. The deck was so insane, I actually was thinking of going for 2k. I lost one match to PewQ, and who was rank 2, I might add, and I lost 30 points. Because the gap was huge. Yeah, I've never had a win streak like that with anything else, and it was utterly insane. I was basically hitting 95% win rate. Not even the mono green advanced never deck from last year did that, and that was about as close. Like that was a 15 win streak, 15 or 16 I think. That was the longest win streak before before Friday I'd ever got. Thursday, before the point reset down. But anyway, so yeah, before Thursday that was the longest win streak I've ever got, was like 15 or 16. Not 21. 21, okay. Yeah, so the deck was crazy. Now, I have no idea whether this is the correct list. Now, this list was running 4 sharpshooters. That was mostly just for dealing with Rage. Because we figured, ban strategy, ban green, our green deck gets banned, and then we were thinking, okay, so what are the decks that could be chosen from there? Angels, Demons, Wisdom Dominion, and Rage. Wisdom, Dominion, and Rage were the most common ones, so we figured, okay, we'll play the mirror, since our green deck will probably get banned. I only got to play this deck once in the entire tournament, and I won on turn 6. Or turn 5, I think he conceded before I played the last Haldiri Rider. But yeah, it was just not close. It just wasn't close. And the deck feels very silly. I only played it once, and that game was not close at all. So yeah, the deck feels very, very broken. Now, my tournament was a bit odd. I actually played round 1 against Uska, of course. So yeah, I lost that against him. Then round 2 I played against Zephyria. I ended up winning that on the Wisdom Dominion Mirror. Then I played against Ecop, who was using the lists I gave him. So yeah, played against another mirror match lineup. There were only 3 people at the tournament playing it. I was just like, come on. And what's funnier about it is that in round 2, Uska and Ecop played. So literally all 3 of us running the same lineup played each other. It was insane. But yeah, so I ended up beating Ecop, and then in round 4 I played against Clone and ended up winning 2-0 in that. Yeah, I played Elves and Wisdom Dominion. And overall, I was very, very happy with the list. I feel like Wisdom Dominion was the weakest of the 3 lists, which is crazy because that deck I actually played in Friday Night America, went 5-0, and then me and Uska played it in Sunday Funday just for the tournament. He went 5-0, I went 4-1. Or no, that was a 4-round tournament. He went undefeated, I got 1 loss is the point. So the deck was very, very good, and I felt like that was the weakest. So the theming you'll notice is that all of these decks are designed to target down Wisdom Dominion control. So this list, these are not ladder lists. You will have to change them up. I've talked about this in the past. Ladder and conquest lists are different. Not by a lot, but it is a relevant difference. So for instance, I would not recommend running any of these 3 lists card for card on ladder, apart from maybe the Rage one. So what was the Wisdom Dominion list? Now, we cut 1 Horizons, who are only playing 6 ramp spells. The reason we cut 1 Horizons, not Power Surge, was because in the mirror, you only want 1, and the second one's clunky, and the third one's useless. So we cut down the new Horizons, went up an extra lamp, playing 4 lamps, 3 Vampirisms, because you need 2 to win the mirror match, and we're playing 2 Gnomes, and cut down a little bit elsewhere, only running 18 shrines. That actually wasn't my original idea. That was Krur. Krur's list is what we started from. He was running like one of Silencer and things like that in his tournament list, and we tried it. It was good, and we switched last minute to, it was I think Uska's idea to go up extra lamp numbers. So we took out the one of Silencer and I think a Horizons, and then we put in the lamp and the extra Vampirism. And it worked. I only played 2 Wisdom Dominion mirrors in the tournament, but I played a ton before. And, I mean, one of the Wisdom Dominion mirrors was against the same list, because it was against Uska. So, yeah, I think overall the deck performed quite well. I would say it's the weakest of the decks, but it didn't exactly fail me in any regard, since the only deck it really... I only played it... Like, I played it 3 times. No, I played it on all 4 rounds, actually. Yeah, I only played the mirror twice, but I played it in all 4 rounds, and, I mean, one of its losses, I think the only loss I got with the deck was to the exact same list. So I was very happy with how it went, although it did feel like it was the weakest of the decks, that's for sure. Now, we decided to play this over Demons. I talked about this a bit after the tournament itself, but I'm still not entirely sure if that was the right decision. Well, I mean, it didn't affect the outcome at all, because the only loss I had was to my testing partner. Now, his loss was to Laurentio. Now, I didn't spectate his games because I was playing, and I have no idea how those games went. So, I mean, maybe he can chime about it, but yeah, I can't really comment on it. The only loss I had was to the exact same lineup. So I think all the decks did work out very, very well. In fact, I don't think I dropped a game outside of that. Yeah, I don't think I actually dropped a game outside of that. I could be wrong. No, I actually don't think I dropped a game. outside of my loss to Uska. I'd have to double check that, but yeah, it definitely went very, very well. Now, Demons was the other one that you could have played. I think it's a toss-up. The reason we decided against it was neither of us were comfortable playing Demons. A lot of people did. In fact, out of the top, well, 5, because there's 3 3-point players, one of them was playing Demons, and that was also with Wisdom Dominion. The cut there was the green deck, which is slightly understandable, actually, because a lot of people just auto-banned green, so it makes the ban harder. But at that point, I think you just auto-ban Demons. But yeah, playing Demons allows you to mess with people's bans a lot, because a lot of people are scared of the deck, and it allows you to get some quirky matchups. The reason we decided against it was because we didn't feel as if the matchups were good enough, really. We were looking for a deck that could target Wisdom Dominion that was not going to sacrifice power elsewhere. That's actually the theme of all 3 decks. We decided on our lineup of Red, Green, Wisdom Dominion as the lineup to beat. We changed the decks to work against the same lineup, the mirror basically, without sacrificing power against the other decks, and I feel like we achieved it. With Demons, the deck feels like it beats itself sometimes. Rarely, but it does happen. Like sometimes you don't draw Portal all the time, and sometimes you just miss 2 Divine Offerings and you're dead because Corruption doesn't have any card draw. I mean, my history playing zombies kind of proves that. But yeah, it's kind of brutal sometimes, and it feels like you lose a little bit of control while playing, which neither of us were too happy with. So we decided against playing the deck the day before, pretty much. Now, I do think Peacekeeper and Crueltex Demons list was the way to go. Like, I think the list they were playing was good. They both went 2 points in the end, but I think that their Demons list itself was pretty solid and was definitely worth looking out for. They were playing Flesh Sculptors and a bit more of a normal Corruption deck that could really fight card to card when it didn't draw the Portal, which I think was a big deal. So I think that's the way to go. I haven't looked at that list exactly, but just playing against it, it felt better. So yeah, Peacekeeper and Crueltex teams list, I think, was where you want to go when it comes to Demons. But anyway, so we decided on the lineup we did. We ditched the Demons, and we're running the Wisdom Dominion deck, teched against the Mirror. We were running Elves that just destroys control decks, although, honestly, I have not found a bad matchup. The only losses we've got on record for this thing are 2 against Rage, but the series win testing was 4-2. So yeah, 2 against Rage in testing, and that was 4-2 accounting. So, and both decks drew badly in one of the games at least. So yeah, that was 4-2. So that wasn't exactly that bad matchup. Then there was 1 loss to Implants, which is understandable because this deck wasn't running Tornado Outbreak, which might be a mistake, but I didn't really have enough to go off. Like, the only switch we made was the Sharpshooter because it felt a little tacky against Rage, but we didn't have enough losses to go off to tech the deck out. And besides that, the only other losses I had on record were Demons when I drew badly and Wisdom Dominion, but it was 6-1. So it was difficult to hammer out the list for this, and if I had more time, I would have dedicated it to it and hammered out the list, but honestly, I did not expect to play the deck at all. I expect to be banned every single time, partly because it's a green deck, and also because anyone that was keeping track of ladder, at least against me, would have banned it every single game, because I just shot up the ladder instantly with the deck. Against Uska, I expected him to at least play it once, at least because someone might mistake it for mill, for instance, which is less scary. So, in the future, I mean, I'll hammer this out in the future and do a deck tech on it properly, but yeah, I didn't really dedicate a lot of time to checking the list because it felt as if the deck was strong enough anyway. Most of our time went towards Wisdom Dominion and also testing just matchups to make sure we knew what to ban. The ban order we decided on was Nature, then I think it was Nature, then Corruption, then Angels, because it can cause some free wins against Wisdom Dominion, which we weren't too happy with, and then Rage, to avoid the mirror match. Speaking of mirror matches, this Rage deck, this was, like, I designed the Elf deck, Uska designed this. Like, he gets full credit for this list. This was crazy. So, not once in the last month have I thought about a Rage deck and been like, You know what we need to do? Not play Burning Rage. I've never thought that. And it seems like no one else did either, because all the Rage decks I've seen from Masters were playing 4 Burning Rage. It was just ridiculous. He basically cut Burning Rage and then went 5-0 with it in a tournament. I went like 19-5 on ladder. And then we tested Burning Rage red against Wisdom Dominion, and the matchup was close. And then we tested this against Wisdom Dominion, and it was like 5-0. It just destroys things. I didn't lose a single game with this. In fact, I think out of everyone in the entire tournament, out of the 3 of us that played this deck, I think it only lost twice from all 3 of us. I think it lost twice, maybe 3 times. I beat it when I played Ecop, and that was a terrible draw. Like, he didn't get a 1-drop or a 2-drop. And he was going first, so he couldn't compensate. So, that was a terrible draw. And Uska lost with it once in the mirror. Which, yeah, the mirror is 50-50, it just is. But when I played this 3 times, and it destroyed everything. It wasn't even close. This deck felt about as broken as the Elf deck, to be honest. They play very similarly. They're both full aggro decks that have a lot of burn. In the case of Rage, it's spells. In the case of Elves, it's Grove Guardians and Brother-in-Arms dealing 11 damage. But yeah, it's with the hero power. So they both played very similarly, and they both utterly annihilated most things we threw it at, and also notably Wisdom Dominion. So the idea was we ban the green deck. If they have Wisdom Dominion, they'll probably ban Elves or maybe Rage, but the point is they'll ban one of the aggro decks, and then you open the aggro deck, so you force the Wisdom Dominion into the aggro deck, and then you play the mirror when you got 4 lamps. That was the strategy, and it did work. We both did very, very well. I mean, my only loss was to my own testing partner, and his only loss was to the tournament winner. So I think we both did very, very well. And what I've learned from this whole experience is something which I thought about before, but I hadn't really put into testing, which was just the idea that you really need to work with another player when it comes to something like this. The 2 of us accomplished a lot more than either of us could possibly do on our own. And yeah, I think it was definitely worth the time invested, and is definitely the way I want to go forward, is just testing with other top players, because it really does make a big difference. So anyway, outside of my own tournament experience, Conquest, equally as annoying, but I mean, it was less annoying because we were so focused on how to strategize with it, but I still don't like the format. I'll stick to it. It's not terrible, because there was more to like fiddle around with, sort of. I mean, I think the reason it felt less bad was because the balance has changed. Hate Bears was nerfed a little bit, and Wisdom Dominion was buffed a little bit, and then you got the new cards as well. So I felt like there was more stuff to do, but ultimately, we still played Wisdom Dominion Rage Nature. It's still the same lineup, and the color restriction really does force lineups to be pretty much the same in most cases, or very similar. Like, Laurenthiel was playing Implants, which was Wisdom Dominion, so yeah, that's the other way you could go there. The Nature decks pretty much always got banned, but the Nature decks, yeah, they could shift around a bit. That was a more interesting testing thing. And then the last deck was pretty much always Rage. In fact, everyone that went 3 wins or higher was playing Rage. Yeah, everyone was playing Rage, and only Puku was not playing a green deck, and he was playing Demons instead. So I think the whole idea of playing red, green, and then Wisdom Dominion was definitely the way to go, and pretty much all of us did that. The lists themselves differed. There was Hate Bears or Elves, there was the different types of Rage, those are closer though, and then there was Implants and then Wisdom Dominion Control. The actual lists were different, but ultimately, outside of Implants versus Wisdom Dominion, the lineups all played the same, because all the green decks and Rage decks tend to have similar matchups, and ban strategies were the same. So the only person that had a lineup that probably played differently was Laurenthiel. And even then, not by much. So I think it definitely does show how diverse it can even be. It's very restrictive, and I do hope they change it in the future. I mean, this wasn't exactly, it was not, I mean, it was a fun tournament to play. It wasn't unfun, like last month. That was because it was less rigid, but I think a lot of that's because we could at least choose what different types of decks we wanted to play. Whereas last month it was just like, oh, you play your Burning Rage and Hate Bears and Wisdom Dominion. Yeah, that's your lineup. Packaged, here you go. So, yeah, we definitely had more diversity, but when it comes down to actual aspects, it was still pretty much the same. So, a lot more fun to play in. But that's partly because we spent the entire week deck building, because there's new stuff to do. Which means next month will be even crazier, because there'll be even more deck building, because new set. But I still have problems with Conquest. This one was a lot more fun, but that's just because there was more stuff to try out. So, yeah. I mean, next month will be probably more fun as well, because there'll be tons of stuff to try out, but I'm still not sure. I'm still not sold on this Conquest thing. I'll definitely say that. But yeah, overall, I think that the qualifier system, I have talked about this before in my tournaments video, it does need to change. I mean, I qualified through ladder, so did Uska. We both ended first and second on ladder, actually, at the end of last month. But the tournament qualifier system needs a rework. I do think it needs a rework. The silver ticket qualifiers screw people over way too hard, and the prize pools for Masters golden tickets are hilariously low. Like, you can actually not earn anything from a qualified tournament. Like, even if you qualify for Masters, you can get nothing. Like, you don't even get a consolation prize if you go 1 point or lower, which, I don't know, that seems a little sketchy. I think you should at least get a consolation prize or something, just for qualifying. So, yeah, I do think it needs to be restructured a little bit. Like, just in-game stuff. Yeah, the same goes for people that get 1 point or less in golden ticket quals. And the silver tickets thing needs to be restructured a little bit. I talked about that extensively in my tournament video. Having seen what's been happening to tournament attendance recently, they really need to increase the prizes for Sunday Funday and some of the other tournaments. Fridays are the only tournaments that I think have good enough payouts. And Saturday Conquest, just first place. Just first place. Yeah, the tournament payouts for Sunday Fundays is abysmal. It's really bad. Like, I played and I got 1 loss, and I got 5,000 gold profit. Come on, really? I mean, I don't care about gold, but I could have just played 4 ranked games and I would have got the same amount. Like, you get top 4 in a tournament, and you get the same profit you would have got from just playing ranked. Something does not sit right with me there. That just does not feel right. I mean, we were kind of joking about it before Masters, where Uska ended up getting first. He went undefeated and got like a total of 10,000 gold. It's really bad. They need to restructure that, because the redesign on the tournament support did not work, in my opinion. I don't think that worked. So yeah, I do think that the tournament rewards need to be pumped up a little bit on stuff like Sunday Fundays. I mean, Friday nights are fine. They're very, very top heavy. Like, the people that get prizes are all in the very, very top minority, but it's something to fight for, which is fine. But when the total prize in general is low, yeah, I think that needs to be redone a little bit. So anyway, that's my sort of review on how the tournaments have been for this month. And, I mean, it does tie in with Masters a little bit. I do think silver tickets need to be redesigned, but yeah, we'll have to see where they take it. We still have, I mean, we've got no idea when the next set comes out, and we have no idea what they're doing for Masters next month. They haven't announced anything, so we shall see. But anyway, I'll link the deck lists in the description. I think the devs actually published all the deck lists, and if they did, I'll put that in the description, but I can't remember. But anyway, thank you all for watching. If you like the content, please subscribe. If you have any feedback or want to ask me any questions, put it in the comment section below. If you'd like to support the channel directly, there is a link to my Patreon in the description, and there is also a 75,000 gold code for new players that gives you the Disquisitive Spirit Card Back that you can see on the screen. Damn, these outros are long. But anyway, as for now, it's been Jotto, signing off.